What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Everyday Struggle. Nadeska, Akademiks, and Wayno here. So I think it's been a little bit challenging for us filming at home. We have to make some sacrifices. Wayno just made someone get out of the damn shower, turn off the water so that there wouldn't be any water sounds in the background. That's intense.
Nah, it was just my son was upstairs brushing his teeth. So
he left him with the toothpaste in his mouth.
He's practicing good hygiene, and Wayno's telling him not to right
Turn that shit
I
off.
I had to tell my daughter to tell him to stop with the water because I could hear it like literally in my ears. Like so, you know. Usually when we record, everybody's still asleep. For some reason, everybody wants to be up early now, so everybody has to be quiet while I'm doing this.
It happens.
Yesterday's the first time I heard your dog snoring.
For real?
Like during the episode. Usually I can't hear it, but I heard it a little bit. It's very comforting. It's relaxing.
Yeah, even him, his ass is wide awake right now too. Yeah.
Something's going on at your crib then, Wayno. Like it might be a party.
No, everybody's awake. That's the problem. Everybody's up.
Wayno's got
this
a full
is hilarious.
Because my daughter's shaking. Now my daughter's shaking the table. Don't sit at the table, please. My daughter's shaking the table and it's shaking my camera. You cannot sit at this table, okay?
Oh my God.
Fine, thank you.
Yo, Wayno got a whole situation. This is hilarious. To be honest, Wayno, it sounds like you can have like a little reality show. I was watching my new thing. Yo, I'm running out of things to watch on Netflix. The creator of Blackish, like Grownish,
Black
and
as
all
fuck?
that. Yeah, that dude, right? He has a like at home like kind of scripted reality series, so dope. Yeah. But it's kind of like seeing how like black dudes are just in Hollywood. It's kind of funny to watch.
It is funny, yo. It's really dope. I ain't gonna lie.
That could be you, Wayno.
I don't know, man. I can't have cameras all in the crib going through everything. I ain't really with that.
You tell them to delete the footage when you need them to delete it, man.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Like you broke the deal.
We know everyone's adjusting to quarantine life. Tory Lanez has been doing really well with quarantine radio. I think you guys both enjoy the show, but last week we were talking about whether this could actually be profitable for him. I think you said not really, or at least it's not going to have an effect on his music sales. But Tory told Billboard that MTV has actually offered him a 30-minute segment since quarantine radio was so successful. Says he doesn't know what he's going to do yet. Do you think this would be a good look for him? Quarantine radio 2.0 on MTV?
I personally think it would. You know, I think now is the time that rappers should probably take advantage of, you know, live streaming in different environments other than IG Live. Also, you know, like content in different formats. Like most of these guys, you always look at these days rappers are so antisocial. Tory's one of the only few that, you know, like when we get a list of rappers that want to come to Everyday Struggle, we're like, this guy doesn't talk. This guy says he hates people. This guy says he hates himself. This guy just hates, like, does he use English? Like, so when we look at the list, there's a few people that we see their personality jump off the page. Tory's one of them, which by the way is very like drastic contrast to like the 90s. I feel like there was all characters and like bright personalities, whether it was a Cam, whether it was like even a Damn who wasn't even a rapper himself. But I feel like now is more the antisocial thing for most of these rappers. Tory's one of the guys who he still lights up the room. I think he should take advantage of it. And shit, I just seen, you know, Lil Dicky, you know, talking about his show and his success, and he basically said he didn't really want to be a rapper. He was trying to find a way how to get into content, and great that he's good at rapping. But I think Tory could definitely do a lot more things. And I don't know if Wayne gonna like it because he did say Tory was a jack of all trades, master of none. But I like it. Tory, do your thing, bro.
No, so look, I want Tory. I think that this would be good. The only problem that I do have with this is I think that going to an MTV would dilute the content. Because, you know, when with Instagram Live, you know, the thing that made quarantine radio is it being uncut, in your face, all types of stuff going on, and then the CEO of Instagram is like, yo, we can't have nudity, we can't have this. So he had to find ways around that. If he goes to MTV, which is, you know, more red tape to cut, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be so many things he can't do. It kind of takes away from the whole concept of quarantine radio, period.
That is a very good point. There are certain networks that allow a lot more explicit content, but MTV is certainly not one of them.
That's gonna
a lot of bureaucracy over there.
Right.
That is a good point you have about, like, you know, the content would definitely change, and maybe the sacrifice you would have to make to actually still create with them just dilutes and kills the whole brand and defeats the purpose. At that point, it goes from being the cool thing that you have 300,000 people watching every single time to being almost the corny thing, which now you're trying to cash out on check. I don't know. I feel, you know, like, I feel Tory could kind of balance it a bit. Of course, it would be different because
But do you think he would carry over that audience? I'm not sure specifically who the MTV audience is at this point, but I think it's more the teen mom demographic, which is not really our viewership or probably Tory's. So then they're probably banking on him bringing his audience to MTV as well.
The only thing I don't want to see happen is quarantine radio turn into ridiculousness or something like that.
Oh.
So because I feel like it's a great idea, it's a great concept, but if you're not gonna let Tory just be Tory, then it's not gonna work.
Maybe late night MTV, like Adult Swim or something.
Yeah, I think you have a great point as well about bringing over the audience. Shit. I mean, in a lot of formats, internet audience doesn't just translate to many other formats, especially TV. Shit, right. Honestly, maybe that would work, but just suited for a different platform. I think the audience of MTV and just what they've been doing, it's not completely in line with what quarantine radio that we see it is. You get me? So, yeah, I can understand that. So maybe different platform, but I think it's a good idea.
Tory should get his check.
Absolutely. Canadians running shit.
Canadians running shit. I mean, so Boosie always has a wild theory. So he has a theory on how rappers are going to move forward now that they can't collect checks from doing shows during this COVID pandemic. So he thinks actually a lot of artists are going to end up back in the streets making money. Here's what he said during an interview with Vlad TV.
Half the rappers ain't CEOs. So you don't get the label check. The label check, get that to the CEO. So we count on back ends, bro. That's the money that they can't touch. And we really count on them back ends, because that's the money they can't touch. So we in a kind of fucked up position right now. It's just time for the rappers to step up their hustle. Most niggas finna go back to the game. What niggas know. Most niggas finna go back in them streets. You know what I'm saying? I'm just glad I got other ways, some checks coming in right now.
So we've already heard Lil Baby say that he told his label to give him $5 million or he's going back to hustle. Some rappers have actually started accounts on a site called OnlyFans, which I just got introduced to. So people post a lot of explicit content on here. I'm not sure what kind of content rappers are posting on OnlyFans.
Don't tell me you're a subscriber.
No, I literally just Googled it to figure out what it was. So first of all, thoughts on Boosie's theory. Is this unfortunately going to drive a lot of artists back to the streets?
I don't think so. I mean, yes, and I mean, possibly, but for one, Lil Baby was trolling. I think, I don't think it drives them directly back to the streets, because when we start talking about the streets, you got more to lose now than ever. It's not just you making a couple dollars, it's you potentially losing your freedom if you start messing with the streets. And if you've been a successful rapper for the past some years and, shows is holding you up, then you might just need to take some of the bread that you have saved and try to find places to put it or to flip it. I don't think that going in the streets is the answer, because then you risk losing, let's say the pandemic is over in 8 months and then you end up getting 8 years for doing some shit in the streets just because you're trying to make a quick buck. So I don't think that is going to drive people to the streets, but there's going to be some that try to dibble and dabble.
I think Wayno just gave us the Dare Counselor answer. I should.
You're so disrespectful sometimes.
No, that's not. I mean, in theory, and given the opportunity and how you can make legal money in rap and the potential there, of course you shouldn't be going to the streets if you're somewhat successful at all. You got to wait aside. You should have saved. You got to learn how to hustle legally. You don't want to do anything illegal, of course. That's what I'm saying. That's the Dare Counselor answer. What happens, and again, and Wayno knows this more than a lot of people. A lot of rappers who we know, a lot of them still have, ties to the streets, and sometimes they mix their legal money and their illegal money. So at times when their legal money starts slowing up, it's not saying it should happen, not saying it's preferential, not saying it ain't dumb, but a lot of rappers are probably gonna lean into that, and again, will they get caught up on it? Who knows? But I do see it's naive to think, because I used to think that when I saw just rappers and musicians that they left behind the life of crime and they were just making complete legal money. And then I seen and got closer to shit, and I realized for some people the ratio is 50-50. Half street money, half legal money. For some people it's 80-20.
Let's make sure we add this, Akademiks. a lot of these rappers were petty criminals. A lot of these niggas was never getting money. Their perspective of having money is watching someone else get money. So the thing is that when people start saying, oh, they might get back into the streets, a lot of rappers is liars, man. A lot of them never been in the streets making money. It's a difference between being a hustler and being in the streets to be in the streets. Everybody who was in the streets wasn't making money prior to rapping. So
there we go. Now Wayno's kicking that knowledge. Here we go. There we go. Before he was talking, I could tell his kids was around. He was talking that counselor shit, man.
They still around because I get them the same information too. You play the thing is that, and I always say this: you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. There's tons of ways to make money within music that nobody's talking about making merchandise or selling merchandise. People still want to buy a T-shirt that they can wear. Like, I don't think that jumping back into the streets is the way, because you're gonna have a lot of dummies jumping off a cliff, that they might not be able to get back from.
And agree with Wayno as well. I think, going back to the street, I think plays, right? So if a rapper is down to like his last 200,000, right? Again, for the regular person who doesn't feel like they have those street ties, again, most of these niggas ain't really doing shit themselves, right? But sometimes getting to the streets is giving your street niggas the 100,000 of your money, thinking that's an investment for them to flip. That's the streets. You get me? So again, like, I would think the smart rapper would be like, yo, I'm getting to stock market. Yo, I'm gonna do these like legal things. To some of them, let me take 100,000. Let me hit my man with it. My man gonna do this and third. He gonna flip it. He gonna come back to me with 2. I'm gonna rap about it. Yo, you know what I mean? Like,
that's all of that. That shit sounds cool, right? All that sounds cool. But how about taking a quick little 30 or 40 and investing into a trucking business that's still doing shipping and receiving? That hasn't stopped. That hasn't stopped.
That don't sound too good to rap with them. You can't really rap about. Like, I mean, a couple niggas rapped about UPS, but I don't know if the Amazon Prime fits in a rhyme too good. Okay.
I'm just saying, man. I want these brothers and sisters to stay safe, man. Act want to send y'all off the deep end. He wants you back in the streets.
No, absolutely not. No. I agree with you, and it's dumb to do. I'm just telling you what reality is, because
you're right.
I used to look at certain rappers and be like, how the fuck do they have all this money? And then you realize, to try to keep up with the facade, keep up with the Joneses, they mix a little bit of rap money with street money to make them look way richer. And again, it's a dangerous game they play, but in hip hop, it's all about like, flaunt your wealth. So when you show somebody you're rich and successful, they might feel like, damn, this nigga's lit.
So obviously this is going to affect rappers, but I'm curious what you guys' thoughts on how it affects the industry overall. One of our fans said, with this current pandemic possibly causing an end to all concerts until further notice, how big of an impact will this have on the music industry, being that live shows how a lot of rappers make a majority of their earnings? We've talked about that a little. Of course, if you're a billionaire like a David Geffen, he's like getting shit on the internet for posting a photo on his yacht somewhere in the Grenadines. You know what I mean? Like, if you have that level of money, you're cool. But what about all the other people, the publicists, people who work at the label, management? I remember when I was younger, the industry sounded like this very lavish place where you went on private jets, on press trips. You know what I mean? And then the financial crisis in 2008 sort of like had an effect on that. And now here we are back again. So what do you guys think the industry is looking like in the next 5 years? Granted, streams are probably up right now because everyone's home watching and listening.
I think depending on the profession you have within the industry that's what's really gonna affect you. So like a publicist, I mean, they still can get placement, because everything that they're doing is digital anyway. So it's like, I mean, of course it would be good to have an artist go up to, come to see us, but we can still connect with them so they can still do their job in that aspect. I think for managers, most managers are smart. Well, I want to just say smarter, but most managers, if they're really competent, make good decisions when it comes to their money. As far as like the live performance thing, it's still supported by corporate America. Like Live Nation is a big company. I'm pretty sure they're taking hits, but they're built for it. When they're paying these artists out like a Drake to do $1 million shows and giving out these crazy deals, they got a hell of a pot. So I think they have a lot of essential workers in there, even though we might not see, them in venues. There's still a lot of people that move things around, especially with act. Maybe you could add some of this for me. These live performance things. I'm pretty sure that the people who are behind the scenes at a Live Nation or any of these other, venue companies are probably putting those pieces together so that we can see these types of things going on online. Yeah,
so it's kind of like a mixed bag when it comes to industry. Like I know people like specifically where like, like in most corporate just settings, like a lot of budgeting and just like getting paid, because no matter, even if you feel you're a salaried employee, shit kind of works off what the company's making quarterly. We in the second quarter right about now. You feel me? And what happened is this shit started at the end of the first quarter, right? So we're in the second quarter, and if income ain't looking to, you know what I mean? Again, also artists may not be putting stuff out. Like, this is where you're going to know your worth. Because, again, sometimes when, you know, labels get a huge roster and they got to get a lot of people to support those rosters, sometimes they get a bunch of other people that might not be all the way necessary. Those people, you getting out of here. And I mean, that's happening everywhere, in every industry. So you see those people, like, sometimes they might be let go. And you know, the freelance game is a huge thing within the music industry. Actually, just entertainment, period. Some of those people, it might be harder if you don't already have something going. Because, like, to some level, like, at first, artists was trying to wait it out. They were like, yo, we're not trying to drop within the coronavirus. All of us say Uzi. You feel me? Now, we see, like there's still a little schedule going on, but it's still a little bit toned down. So, of course, the staff is going to be toned down a little bit. I think everyone is learning new skills, and this is a big importance of this whole time, right? It's like learn to adjust. Artists got to learn to adjust, right? For all the artists who used to just go out and pick up bags, and that was the easy way to just keep your family fed, and you weren't even thinking, like, you know, some artists be like, yo, man, fuck, I don't care about seeing money from streaming, or I don't care about publishing, I don't care about all this other shit. I only care, like, I'm going to always be rich by going to the club. Well, that's not the case anymore, so those people are adjusting. People who work within, like, say, a Live Nation, yeah, of course, now they gotta go hard to try to get these opportunities. They got to work with people who are software developers, or they got to be involved in trying to set up virtual concerts or something of the sort. But, you know, to some extent, like, a Live Nation definitely could handle the hit. It's just how many employees will they keep on for how long? You know, that's always the question, because if it's 2 months, cool. If it's till the end of the year, half y'all niggas got to go. Sorry.
Yeah, it's going to be tough,
Sorry.
man. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. Let's see how it goes. The government is still pretending to try to help workers right now. So maybe you guys could give some quick thoughts on this new NBA YoungBoy project, excuse me. It's called 38 Baby 2. This is a follow-up to Still Flexin', Still Steppin' from earlier in this year. And before he dropped this, he actually said he's never going to release a song or album again until I'm in a better situation. Maybe you guys can also share your thoughts on what that means.
Listen, I love YoungBoy. YoungBoy is he's on the gangster scale of, like, the Lil Xans, right? So the Lil Xan is like super bipolar, but, like, niggas just look at him as soft. Like, YoungBoy is the gangster who also switches moods like this. You get me? That's true. Like, people look at. That's why they were testing him with the Tupac thing. Wayno, don't do that. Let's not act like niggas look like Lil Xan.
No, Lil Xan. I'm not talking about Lil Xan. I'm talking about you gonna put NBA YoungBoy and Lil Xan in the same place emotionally.
Bipolar. Yes, bipolar. They're both bipolar. They're both bipolar. Okay, they're bipolar, or you could say they have multiple personalities. Whatever you want to say. Yes, he definitely is a little bit bipolar. So, again, you know, there's some mental stuff that I believe stems from his past, and also growing up in the streets. Mental trauma. I told you, I sat with him. Like, and a lot of the stuff, like, you know, that he wouldn't be able to process and feel as a regular human came from his upbringing. He never got a chance to learn how to mourn. Him and his mom had a really weird relationship. You know, I was glad to see his mom on his album, by the way. But him and his mom has a real strange relationship. And if you hear how his mom parents him, you could see why he has that lack of love and empathy for other people. But overall, the project, I actually really like it. You know, it's you see a different side of him, and I've always said his music is the way that he vents, and he tries to, like, you know, give himself therapy for what he's going through. So you won't really see it in, like, some of the tweets or the posts, but you hear him, like, sing about it, and you're like, yo, damn, yo, if you think like that, or if you went through that, that's some fucked up shit. You know, I see a couple of his fans, they've been, like, critiquing him. They're like, yo, it's a little bit too soft, because he's kind of getting a little sentimental about certain things. And the reason why I said it was Cap and he was a little bipolar, because the Deluxe is dropping this Friday. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, yeah, you're dropping some new shit. The Deluxe dropping this Friday. You said you were never going to drop. Again, we all know that is smoke and mirrors. Not only when I sat and spoke with him, but also when I listened to the project, like I see someone who's evolving, and while I seen it, we're gonna get into sales projections in a second. While I see people judging him like, yo, is the number still going up? I see someone who I don't think he's really ever tried to make a studio album for commercial consumption. I feel like he just has a decent or pretty good sized fan base that we now even discuss it on a show like this. He don't make single type records. You get me? Like, if you listen to most of these songs, he's rapping about just his life. And maybe one's catchy, but he ain't really making anything that seems single ready. And I get into the numbers because he is actually still scheduled to be number one on the Billboard the Billboard Top 200 album chart. Last week, DaBaby officially debuted with 124,000, right? We had The Weeknd that was number 2 last week. Uzi Eternal Take, which was 54,000 sold, and I was about to say My Baby. Pause. Lil Baby, My Turn. Was at number 5 with 42,000 sold. So this new week we're gonna have YoungBoy be the number 1 album, and then we're gonna have The Weeknd and like DaBaby pretty much battle it out for number 2. But I will say this, just on a singles note, we haven't talked about the box in a while, and it had such a tremendous run. Salute to Roddy, Ricch, but Tootsie Slide, which did like dethrone the box, it got dethroned like the next week by The Weeknd, which is super interesting to me because I thought this was gonna be one of those Hotline Blings from Drake where it was gonna stay at number 1. It had a moment at number 1, but like,
I mean, I thought like even with that record, I thought that with even like with Tootsie Slide, it's like I get it, but at the same time, that's why I was just saying it's like Hotline Bling is, and I got a chance to see Hotline Bling at the Summer 16 tour, right? And that was when he was floating around in a car and all of that shit. I just think Hotline Bling was such like a massive song. I don't think that Tootsie Slide is like in that realm. Yeah, the content might be damn well. The content isn't the same, but like the sonics of it, is damn near the same, but it's just not the same thing, And I didn't think it was gonna last as long as Hotline Bling did. But isn't Travis and Kid Cudi potentially on the run to make the number 1 as well?
Well, they're supposed to have like 38 million streams raked in the week. I think it should be a high debut, but I'm not too sure if it's going to be number 1. But regardless, it's going to be competing with The Weeknd, Blinding Lights. I think it's in a conversation though. So depending on how these last 2 days of charting goes or just streaming, it will determine where that falls on the charts. But man, again, I like that song. We reviewed it yesterday. I like it.
I like it. Okay, we're almost out of time. So how about we end with this one? Obviously, a lot of these hit-for-hit battles have been going down on Instagram. We talked about a lot of them. Diddy recently told Fat Joe on IG Live that there has been some talks about a battle between him and Dr. Dre. Would that be the greatest one yet? Wait, no, there's no way you could be jaded about this one. I can't even ever see Dre doing this on Instagram Live.
No, I'm definitely tuning in for that. And that's the thing. I think that some of the battles. The problem with the battle is that everybody's just pitting everybody against each other. Where Swiss was saying like, yo, it's versus. Of course, there's a concept of competition, but it's really about appreciation for each party, right? Now, when we see my man Teddy Riley make a couple of mistakes and mishaps, then it turns into disses and memes and all that other shit. But
you were adding to it, nigga.
Well, I definitely did, nigga. Who wasn't laughing when that shit happened? Like, it was funny, but I'm just saying, it's like I think that that is great. That's the one that everybody would want to see.
So this would be the right matchup, right? Because that's been another thing. Some people we feel like are unfairly matched. Are Diddy and Dre are good?
I don't know. Like that's the thing. I wouldn't say that it's fair only because I feel like Diddy is an orchestrator when it comes to production. Diddy doesn't really touch the machine. Dre is an orchestrator and he touches the machine. I think that like Dr. Dre is in a space of a Quincy Jones, and not that Diddy isn't in those same type of conversations. I just think that because of Dr. Dre's skill set when it comes to touching the machine, it gives him a little slight edge on Diddy. Now Diddy constructing records production wise, yeah, absolutely. I put him in there with Dr. Dre and shit. I feel like Swiss Beats got something to say as well. Pharrell, Kanye. All of those guys, but like I don't know. I think that this gonna go in Dr. Dre's favor easily.
Can I ask an obvious question?
Go ahead.
Is this just like songs? So if we imagine this happening, 20 songs, verses, hit for hit. Is it Bad Boy versus Aftermath? Which means anything that came out, or more than even Aftermath, Death Row Aftermath, right? Like anything that both of them had their hand in, whether it was signing or producing, or is this maybe something where it's like, hey, something where like, yo, you have a presence on the song. You either have production credit. Like, if this is so vague, and these two have been responsible for so many records being sold, the parameters is going to matter what counts and what cannot count. But I will say, though, I do have a favorite. My favorite is still Diddy overall, no matter what. Because for what Wayno gave Teddy Riley shit for, I think Diddy's going to pull off.
What I gave Teddy Riley shit for?
For the
trying to do a lot.
For the attempted execution.
Oh, you talking
Diddy's
about
a show.
Diddy's a shit, exactly. Diddy's going to go all the way out.
Diddy is a pristine and the top of the top presentation artist.
So the only thing I feel about this whole entire thing, is that 20 songs from each of them is not enough. Like that's I don't know how you can
extended battle.
Yeah, it's like
no. Hold on, man. Nah, we ain't gonna get to the NBA Finals and say let's play 6 quarters now. 20 songs. They gotta fit it in. Pause. But I do believe, like, it's gonna be tough. But again, I think it's not only gonna be a music celebration of both their legacy, their history, where they came from, right? Their ancestry, just musically, but like. It does showcase, which I think this is one of the things of the hit for hit that we don't really like acknowledge. It showcased like learning how to work on the fly. Like, yo, if I don't know, if Diddy plays Old by the Benjamins or some shit, like how Drake reacts to that and what he plays in to counter that is actually like you get to see how
natural
still
born
of
killers.
a genius they are. You get me?
I mean, like, it's so, that's what I'm saying. There's so many records. There's so many, because I don't think, like, when I think of Dr. Dre, I think beyond Aftermath. Like, I don't even, not that I don't think of Aftermath as a company or a brand, but I'm just saying, it's like, when I think Dr. Dre, I just think Dr. Dre. When I think Diddy, I do think Bad Boy, but Diddy's been involved in making so many records outside of just Bad Boy. Like, he executive produced Mary J. Blige albums. You know what I mean? Like, that's not on Bad Boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so many records that he's worked on. It's just the names versus each other. That's why I'm like, damn, 20 songs between them two. I don't even know how, like, the pressure of them even having to put this shit together, how they gonna do it.
Well, we could be wasting our time entirely right now because this is, of course, not confirmed. Dre's probably going to say, fuck out of here. He has better things to do. Yo, before we go.
I think he'll do it, man.
Really? He's very reclusive. I would be surprised. It would be great, but I would be surprised if he did it.
We see Lil Wayne doing radio during this time. Like, we're in a time where, like, to be honest, even the most reclusive people, they're bored as fuck. You get me? and I do believe Dre, just like Diddy, they love hip-hop enough that they'll do it. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Let's be honest.
Yo, did you try to match the zippers on your sweater to your new gamer chair?
Yo,
I just noticed this shit is like a little bit.
Yo, come on, man. Come on, man. Just talking about matching game, man. Took y'all all episode.
Boogie been giving you some pointers?
Come on, man. Nah, you might put me in the Marys, man.
Wait, is Akademiks suddenly the best dressed on Everyday Struggle?
Wayno, he's put me in the Marys. Do not be upset. Wayno's only max. He's never owned a pair of Marys. I'm gonna get one. Mine's return it, but still, I'm gonna get a pair. You feel me? You know how Meek said he could fit 80K in his Marys. I don't know. Maybe I could fit like $8, but still, fuck it. I'm rocking.
Yeah, he's crazy, man.
Hey, man. Guys, thank you for watching Everyday Struggle. Please send us more questions. We're on Twitter at Everyday Struggle with 2 G's, and we'll see you guys here tomorrow.
When are we gonna get the apartment tour in Nadeska? Stop playing. Not the apartment tour, the mansion tour.